Hello everybody, thought we'd do something different today since no one has commented me requesting for me to react to anything. Someone commented something in the first video about he gave me several requests for Tom MacDonald songs, and I think we need a little bit of break of Tom MacDonald, not every video being around Tom MacDonald. So I'm doing the Six Triangles political quiz. I am going to be doing the political compass test. I cannot access no matter what site I use. So we're doing this one. I'm going to remake this video every year, just to show you how my beliefs have changed and things. But right now, let's get into it. First, make sure you like, subscribe to your channel, all of that. And check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Getter, and also my music on YouTube, my channel on YouTube for music. All will be down in the description below. Check out more videos if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I am centrist, moderate, libertarian, so that's what this is going to be, based around those ideologies. And if you're offended, I don't really care. I've got my own opinion. You got on your own opinions. If you want to have an adult conversation about it in the comments, even if you disagree, then okay, we will. But if you're going to act like a immature baby, then just F off. But let's get into this. We are going to take the long quiz, 144 questions, to get the best results. And why isn't it loading? It is our duty to topple regimes that violate human rights. I am neutral on this because I do not think anyone should violate human rights, but I do not think we should be toppling other countries. Public utilities like roads and electricity should all be publicly owned. I'm going to semi-disagree with this. Our nation would do better if it did not involve itself with other nations. Kind of neutral on this. I'm more of an isolist. I don't know what it's called. I'm more our country isolating itself from other foreign affairs. So I'm going neutral. Parents should be allowed to help their children succeed. I'm neutral on this too. Foreign leaders who oppose our interests should be toppled. Disagree. The government should run the healthcare insurance industry. Disagree. Because the government, I do not think, has our best interest. Capitalism has problems. Neutral because everything's got problems. All the other things besides capitalism's got its own share of problems. Capitalism's not perfect, but capitalism, I believe, is our best system. I think some things in our country do need to be socialized, but full socialism is stupid. Mostly capitalism, I believe. Need-based scholarships are important for allowing gifted students from poor families to be able to succeed. I am neutral on this as well because gifted students is a bunch of BS. Because just because you're smart in books doesn't mean crap. I mean, in the United States, the government kind of requires you to be. But poor families should be allowed to send their gifted children to gifted schools or whatever. So I'm neutral on this. Speculations and facts which cannot be confirmed for certain should never be published. Kind of neutral on this. I think there's a lot of misinformation coming from both sides, both right and left, but I don't really know how I feel about this one. The government occasionally needs to do things which aren't popular for the good of its people. Kind of neutral on this because it's kind of true, because a lot of people in the United States don't really know what's good for them. It should be legal to scream fire in a crowded building where there's no fire. What the? Why is this on here? I know. I think I'll put strongly disagree on that. What? The government should not tolerate dissenting opinions. Strongly disagree. The government should not involve itself with other people's opinions. They need to stay out. We should make products in our own nation whenever possible. Kind of neutral on this because I think we should. The not making ourselves involved with other nations could lead to something like a war, which I'm very much against war. But I do think more products need to be made in the U.S. But it's a hard one to answer, so I'm going neutral. People shouldn't be able to volunteer for experimental treatments when they have no treatment and will die if they do not. A neutral on this. Most or all the economy should be nationalized. Disagree. The media should report facts even when the media disagrees with the implications of them. Agree. Police need more power and protection. Disagree. The police have too much power. Police brutality is definitely a thing. But at the same time, I think the police are underfunded and need better funding and better training. The United Nations should be more powerful. Disagree. I think the current power the United Nations currently has, I say currently twice, but it's enough. They got enough power as it is. All people should get the same rewards regardless of their work. I'm going to disagree on this. The government has too much power. I agree. Not strongly agree, because the government has to have some power, regulations to protect human interests and things like that, but it's got way too much power as it is. I might actually strongly agree. It is our duty to care for the citizens of other countries, same as we care for the citizens of our own. I'm going to go neutral on this because I think we should be aware, like when we're going to war or something, we should be aware about, be worried about the citizens of the country you're fighting in, but we've also got to worry about our own too, so neutral on this. Any deals that another nation wants must be bad for us. Disagree. It should not matter who you are, only what you can do. Disagree. Because if you're a jerk, you're a jerk. Plastic straws should be banned. Disagree. Plastic is not recyclable. It's not possible to recycle plastic, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the big deal about plastic is people need to stop buying water bottles and things like that. They should just get a Brita filter and just filter their water and do that. I think that'd be the best idea. International alliances are important to protect my nation. I'm neutral on this. I think it has its benefits, but if they're trying to pull us into a war, I'm against that. Officials who intentionally deceive the population should be in prison. Agree. Anyone who, if a citizen tried to do that, they'd be put in prison, so I agree. There should be no billionaires. I disagree with this. There is there is a lot of problems with the elites and the rich and things, but saying there should be no billionaires kind of violates freedom. I mean, we aren't necessarily the freest of countries, but I don't think, I disagree. Social media platforms should be required to remove posts which promote conspiracy theories. Strongly disagree because this violates free speech. The media should make more of an effort to report facts rather than opinions. I am good. It's either agree or neutral because I would prefer the media to report facts rather than opinions, but without opinions, if people just understood the importance of opinions, and like I listen to opinions from the right, center, and the left. So I listen to all sides. A lot of people just listen on one side opinions and just take whatever they say. So I think I'm going to go for neutral. Automation has the potential to give significant benefits to humanity. I disagree. I think neutral. There's upsides and there's downsides. So I'm kind of neutral on it. There can never be a government without corruption. I agree with this, unfortunately, but I think we can push towards a government without corruption. We can make changes, and that starts with voting third party. Third party is not a wasted vote. Voting Republican and Democrat's a wasted vote because if you live in a Republican state, a Republican is going to be won by that state. The majority of them are going to vote Republican. Same with Democrat. Swing state's the only state that a Republican or Democrat vote really matter. Cars should be banned to protect the environment. Disagree. Companies that sneakily break regulations and are caught should be disbanded. Neutral. Democracy often allows the majority to infringe on the rights of those who dissent. Disagree. Democracy is it's a good system, I think. People who are poor choose to be poor. Strongly disagree. We should have a national language and all immigrants should be required to speak it. I disagree. International law should not bind my nation. Neutral, I think we should respect international law. Like, we shouldn't just go into a country and break its laws, and then I'm neutral on this. The media should be penalized for reporting false headlines. I'll say I agree. The government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. Strongly disagree. Don't want the government spying on me. If given the chance, I would implement my ideology in my country, even if most people are against it. Strongly disagree, because people believe what they believe and they have the right to believe what they believe. People would be better off without a government. I'm neutral. I think the government has its upsides and its downsides. So in order for humanity to survive, we must get past having separate nations. I'm kind of neutral. I like the idea of just all together, like a one world government, but there'll be a lot of problems with that, I feel like, so neutral. My country should not have elections or votes. I disagree with that. Elections and democracy is an important thing. Main problem is a lot of stupid people vote and a lot of people that don't know how to vote or don't know nothing about politics vote. So, a nation without a military is a weak nation. I disagree. Just look at Costa Rica. Excessive government intervention hurts the economy. Agree. There should be no legal repercussions for using extremely offensive language. Strongly agree. Free speech means free speech. Society could not function without leaders and followers. Neutral on this, I think. Again, leaders and followers have their upsides and also their downsides. Freedom of speech is an important concept. Strongly agree. I'm a strong advocate for freedom of speech. Some industries, such as the Postal Service, should be government run. Neutral. I don't really have much of an opinion on that. Not really a problem at the moment. Trials would be better if put directly to popular vote. I think some of the laws would be better if put to popular vote. I'm not sure about trials. I'm going neutral for this. The government should not officially support any religion or lack of religion. Strongly agree. The population can protect itself better than the government can protect it. Neutral. I think the government has its use. You should be able to become rich if you work harder than everyone else, regardless how wealthy your family was. Neutral. Children should not be able to inherit anything from their parents. Disagree. It is sometimes necessary to ban some substances from the general population. Neutral. I mean, some things that are banned from general population are reasonable, so the government must be by the people, for the people. Strongly agree. Our Constitution is a very important thing. Even it may need to be updated in some areas, maybe not. I'm not really sure, but it's still important. Each person should have an identically weighted vote. Agree. Strongly agree. Identically weighted vote. Gonna have to pause this and find out what that's supposed to mean. Alright, I looked it up. Don't understand it very well, so I'm going to go neutral with it. The government should have access to emails of suspected terrorists. Strongly disagree. The government should not be in your business. Don't care. It is unfair that the wealthy pay for tutoring for their children to pass standardized tests, allowing them to further succeed. I disagree. If a poor person has to pay, the wealthy should be able to have to pay too. The government should never break up a company. Disagree. Guns should be banned for the general population. Strongly disagree. Competition generally makes the economy better. Agree. Constant wars need to make an economy thrive. Strongly disagree. I'm very much against war. 3/4 of the wars fought by the United States are pointless and just for the government to get their resources. The government is needed to break up monopolies and ensure there is fair competition. I am neutral on this. Smoking should be legal. Agree. I mean, smoking's not very good for you, but your body, so. Those who disagree with the government should be removed from the country. Strongly disagree. That's why we have freedom of speech. It is important to provide free education to all children. Agree. A country without fair elections cannot be a good country. Agree. Society requires that some people must have power over others to function. Neutral. It is important to maintain family values. Disagree. Foreign policy has little influence on most people's daily lives. Kind of neutral. Capitalism better than any existing alternative. Agree. Communism, if implemented correctly, would be better than capitalism. Disagree. In a perfect world, communism might work, but it's not a perfect world. Communism would not work. Popular opinion is not always right. Neutral. Popular opinion is what the majority of the country believes, so it's a good idea, not necessarily always right, but still a good idea. The government should have no say in how people live their lives. Agree. Government regulations rarely completely solve the problem they intended to fix. Neutral. I think there's problems, but I think it helps in some regard. The government should try to help the poorest people in society. Agree. Freedom of religion is an important concept. Strongly agree. Regulation cannot fix all problems in the economy. Disagree. I think regulation is pretty important. The government should be able to access the phones of convicted criminals to find additional criminals. Strongly disagree. There should be a national health care service. Agree. Marijuana should be legal for the adult population. Agree. Genetic modification research should be legal in humans. Disagree. The government is larger than it needs to be. Agree. There should be no welfare. Disagree. Those who work especially hard should be rewarded with more wealth. No, they should not. Disagree. The government has no business looking into most people's personal lives. Agree. Not much to say about that. Your income should be directly tied to the value of what you produce. Neutral. Not really sure what it's saying there. Children of the wealthy should only be able to become wealthy if they have their own independent idea. Disagree. Those who take credit for the work of others should lose everything. Agree. Wealthy districts should not be allowed to put additional money into their school districts when less wealthy districts can't afford to do the same. Agree. We must respect the sovereignty of other nations, even those who go against our principles. Agree. If a nation produces materials for us for a low price using cheap labor, we should still buy. Disagree. Like China, a lot of companies in China use sweatshops where children work for no pay, and yeah, I disagree. There should be no police force. Strongly disagree, because without law and order, it just becomes chaotic. There are problems with the police force, but getting rid of the police force is like the stupidest idea anyone has proposed. I do not trust the government to look after my interest. I agree. Capitalism should be fundamentally be replaced. Disagree. A nation should obey its leadership without question. Strongly disagree. Our nation should never initiate a war. Agree. People who spread misinformation should be punished. Strongly disagree. Because even if it is misinformation, and also who's the government to say it isn't misinformation, but if it is truly misinformation, then the truth will weigh out misinformation always. So, and besides, it just makes you look suspicious. We should reduce our welfare program. Kind of neutral on that. We must sacrifice some freedoms to protect our country from terrorism. Disagree. The government, United States government, is at fault for a lot of the things that happened with terrorism. So just because unless something happens, like here's an example: 9/11. George W. Bush, he was warned about it months, even a year before 9/11 even happened. He just brushed it off, didn't even say a word about it. Strictly regulated capitalism is the ideal economy. I'm neutral on that. I think regulation is important, especially with businesses and corporations. I mean, strictly regulated, I don't, not so much. But capitalism is like our best system. But in things like medical care and things like that, capitalism has just become not very good in that regard. But most things still should be under capitalism. If you have nothing to hide, you should you should have nothing to fear from the government monitoring your communications. Strongly disagree. The government has no right to my information. The world would be better off if countries diplomatically united in a single world government. Kind of neutral in that. I think it would be a lot more peaceful, but the government would be way more powerful. Actually, I'm going to disagree because the powerful government part. The economy should consist of private companies with some regulations to ensure fair competition. Neutral. For any economic problem, there's a regulation that can fix it. Disagree because you can't just fix everything with regulation. The government should not prosecute people for expressing an opinion. Strongly agree. Healthcare should be a guaranteed right to all people. Strongly agree. Prostitution should be legal. Agree. Because if porn's legal, it's basically just prostitution in front of a camera. We should have a national religion. Strongly disagree. We should put effort into expanding civilization beyond Earth. Neutral. I mean, it would cost a lot of money, but I'm not against colonizing Mars, but we're a long way from doing anything like that. People who get into power should keep power until they are forced to give it up. Disagree because anyone in power for very long usually ends up becoming corrupt. My nation should focus primarily on domestic policy. Agree, we have become way too involved with foreign affairs. Gay marriage should be legal. Illegal? Oh, illegal. Strongly disagree. Gay marriage should be legal, definitely. Murder and theft should be illegal. Well, yes, of course it should be illegal. Strongly agree. A nation must have strong leadership to be successful. Kind of neutral because you want a leader that's actually competent, unlike Joe Biden. But I don't think we should have a really strong leadership that just turns into a dictatorship. Whistleblowers should be strongly protected. Agree. It is a waste of our soldiers and resources to topple other governments regardless of what they do. Kind of neutral in that because China violates a lot of human rights, but I do not think we should just go start a war on China and try to take over the country. Government-owned industry is usually a bad idea. Agree. There should be a limit to how much wealth someone can inherit from their parents. Kind of neutral. Don't really know what to say. I think the wealthy are much too wealthy, but it's kind of goes against freedom if you put a limit on how much wealth someone can have, so neutral. It should be legal to alter your infant's DNA to make them stronger, smarter, etc. Why is this a question? Agree. That sounds ridiculous. The government should not regulate the economy at all. Disagree. Without regulation, it's just going to lead to chaos. Oppression by violating human rights, no doubt. Regulation needs to be. Oppression by corporations is a much more real threat than oppression by the government. Neutral, because there's oppression by corporations, but there's more oppression by the government, I think. Protesting the government should be legal. Disagree. Freedom of speech. International cooperation is generally beneficial. Neutral, there's upsides to it. There's also downsides to it. The extremely wealthy make more than they deserve. Kinda neutral. I think they do, but let's go with agree. The wealthy have far more than they need. Agree. People should be guaranteed enough to live regardless of whether they work. Kinda neutral on this. I understand those who disagree with us, however. Consumer protection laws to ensure products are safe are important. Agree. Pornographic material should be legal for the adult population. Yes, it's a free country. If AI can govern better than humans can, then AI should rule. Strongly disagree because AI is a bad idea when it comes to that. Terrible idea. It is important for a government to maintain a strong military so that it can have global influence. Strongly disagree. Our government's way too overfunded, and they need to be defunded altogether. People are protesting about defund the police, defund the military. I support regional unions such as the European Union. Neutral. Don't really know much about it. The market will always make the best product unless the government intervenes. Neutral. My nation should conquer other nations. Strongly disagree. All drugs should be legal for the adult population. Disagree. Abortion should always be legal. Neutral. I think abortion should be illegal. Should be legal for first 3 months. Not for mother's choice, but for things that would be detrimental to mother's health in cases of rape, incest, or severe illness the child may have when it's born. So, neutral on that. There should be no legal repercussions for supporting any ideology. Strongly agree. Military spending is a waste of money. Strongly agree. Everything that can be left to the free market should be. Neutral. Truth is relative. Neutral. Evolution should be taught in schools. Neutral. The government should always follow the majority opinion. Agree. Small government is usually better than big government. Agree. And what am I? Okay, my results. I am a centrist in economics. I am centrist in economics. I'm more for markets and regulation rather than control. Personal freedom. I'm for freedom. 62.1% for freedom. 37.9% for truth. 0% for security. Culture. I'm for freedom. I'm mostly just for freedom. I'm 22.6% tradition and 16.1% progress. Equality, moderate outcome. I'm more for outcome over burden or opportunity. Government, I'm anti-authority, so libertarian, I guess. I'm for democracy and monarchy. I figured I'd be hard for democracy. Foreign policy, extreme anti-imperialism. isolationism, 56%, and globalism. Very little imperialism. So, yeah. Comment down below, tell me your thoughts, and tell me if you want to see more of this. See you guys in the next one. Peace, and try not to kill each other. Also, check out the links down in the description below, and subscribe. Bye.